guys, where am I? There I'm. Hey, how are you doing? Let's go back to the main show there. Hey, this is down to Avantnovis. Hope you're doing good. Hello, Adonis and RJ. Um, I've got a cold, so we're gonna try to make this as we're gonna go a little faster today, but it should be fun. Same old thing. These are currently our two maps that we made. We have one in the Middle East kind of area, kind of the center of the world, and we have one down here in the southern poles. Really interesting about this one is that it's actually really stuck in my mind is we have some kind of a industrial airship thing going on down here, and they're basically these flying cities that are pulled by these walkers, and they harvest certain kinds of ice. I kind of went a little nuts on that, but this is basically what we're doing. We're creating a map that is the correct scale to an actual world, and there's going to be a bunch of maps just stuck together. Once they get done, we'll just kind of, make sure they're colored right, stuff like this. This penguin one, I just didn't have time to today, but I told people I'd be on today, so I'm going to be on. Let's go ahead and hit some RNG really quick. We're going to first, unless someone has a, where's this at? Has a idea of where they want to be. We are going to just do map crunch, and we are just going to go find a place. So we're going to click 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe we should go back to, oops, nope. All right. And we're going to see where this is. And this, okay, we're in Italy area. Neat, 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 neat. Okay. So let's go ahead and go into Google Earth and let's find a little bit about this place. Let's head over to Italy. Kind of Mediterranean. Ooh, cool. All right, so we're doing some islandy, it looks like. And let's kind of get an idea of framing for this. So again, we're doing the 5,000 by 5,000 miles. Then 6,000, 4,000. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm cold. Okay, just getting size there. And right about... Sorry, we're going to run this down. Multi-screen suck. All right, there we go. About right there. So top of Africa size. Now we're going to go, the center of this area is going to be this really nice kind of area, but we've already have a map kind of in the middle here. So let's go ahead and put this map on the side here. Or someplace else. You know what? Let's just do this someplace else entirely. What do you think, chat? Should we put this a new place or connect to old? What do you guys feel like on that? A continuation or just something kind of new? Because we're kind of, this kind of definitely Mediterranean. A new place to be fun. Okay. Thank you, RJ. Good to see you back also. Okay, so new thing. So we're going to keep it like this. So let's go ahead and figure out temperature and where the temperature and stuff. All right, random dice roller. Odds, I'm going to roll the dice. Odds, we do this in the southern hemisphere. Evens, we do this in the northern hemisphere. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Evens, we're doing this in the northern hemisphere. That means cold up top, warm below. So kind of like this. We're going to go... go there. Whoop. All right. Sorry, someone just got back to me and about something. So we're going to kind of do it like this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and bring up a new map here. It's 5,000 by 5,000. So that's every pixel's a kilometer. So that's 5,000 kilometers by 5,000 kilometers. We are going to divide the land into a couple different things. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. We'll figure where 10 is out. So we're going to be rolling a D10. So we are going to ask right now, since we're kind of do a coastline, like we have in Google Maps. So we need a coastline somewhere. So let's go ahead and see where that coastline is. And we're going to go ahead and roll a D10. Now, coastline is at 3. Okay, so we have a coastline here. All right, so coastline over here. Let's see where it runs to. So using the same numbers again, where if it runs to like 8, would run the coastline there. If it runs to 9, would run the coastline there, etc., and so forth. So let's find where we're going to where we're going to have this. 6. Right there. Okay, so our coastline's basically right in that area. And let's see, since we have an island in our Google Earth view, let's go ahead and assign an island there. Let's go ahead and roll that. So our islands are going to be on 5. Okay. So we have coastline. Whoop, sorry about that. Coastline here. We're going to have our islands here. Our next thing is let's get a idea of where another coastline is to kind of frame this up. Let's go back ahead to our drawing. We'll just roll this. And that's a 7. So we've gone back here. So we have a coastline here. It's going to start here. We're going to come here and roll this again. And it is a 7 again. We don't like that. It's going to go to 6. Interesting. Okay, so that's our coastline right there. And we have an island right there. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first. Just going to copy and paste this. Make sure that I have it saved so I know exactly what we're doing. Put it up here. If you have any comments, suggestions, or anything on this, please let me know. So we're gonna we're gonna erase all this stuff. We'll just do a new one. That'll be quicker. Again, I will be trying to get this done in an hour. I have a horrible cough. If I suddenly mute or anything like that, know that I am not trying to blow your eardrums out. So as we said before, right here. Oh, okay, 3, 6, 7. You know, what is 9? Let's go find out what 9 is. We'll go back to our random search, and whatever this is, we're going to click this how many times? And 9 will fill in the blank there. Just kind of winging this, kind of feeling, you know, whatever I feel like doing. So we are going to roll this. Let's just D4 it. We're going to click this twice. This website twice, and wherever it is what 9 is going to be. Here we go. 1 and 2. All right. Ooh, what is this? I'm guessing Europe, maybe Norway someplace. We're going to find out. Wait, did I just... No, I just did. Okay, so this is in... Canada? Don't know where this is. Oh, no, whoops. You know, maybe if I get the right... Okay. I don't know where this is. We're going to find out. Oh, was I right in my first call? Close. Not that far. Cool. Okay, so 9 is going to be in kind of a bay area. Okay, so kind of bay, open mouth. Guess we're kind of doing an inner sea here, it seems like. So let's go ahead. So we have a coastline from 3, 6 to 7. Island there, and 9's a bay. So that 9's a bay. We've got an island over here. Okay. Let's go ahead and draw big. So we're looking kind of northern. Maybe down here's your kind of a Mediterranean feel. Let's make this a little interesting. Let's put a little inlet here. Scraggly that up. Increase the size so we kind of have something interesting. So we've got this coastline here. And again, we have to remember our scale here is pretty big. So this is kind of like Straits of Gibraltar, but in the north. And I'm just randomly putting stuff. You know, what if we didn't connect these? What if this was like we had this kind of thing going on? And then we had, you know, some islands over here, and then we had the I don't know. Do you guys want it connected or disconnected, or should we do exactly kind of this image of 9? Oh, we got this island. You know what? Let's use that island. That's cool. What island is that? What island is that? Sarema. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Maybe that's our kind of thing right there. All right. An island area map would be cool. Yes, ma'am. We will do that. Or sir. I believe you're a ma'am, though. Because you were in Discord and we talked a little bit. I believe that was it. All right. So the question is, are we going to connect the island area into this area down here? Are we doing this Italy thing? What's your guys' choices? Italy or maybe islands up here? These would be a little on the cold side since this is in the north. So first question is, do we connect these two? Do we leave them unconnected? We don't want to do too much of a British Isle thing. Either one, okay. Let's see, Adonis, do you have an 8th? Okay, you know what? Let's keep them connected, but make a big, giant, maybe. No, I don't want to be topical, but I might do. There's issues down in the Middle East right now, mainly in the areas that had some of the straits. You know what? Let's not do that out of respect to the dead and the shenanigans going on. So we're just going to keep this like that. Let's just do that. Let's kind of make this a little, since we said a minute Mediterranean, we're going to go with some large inlets here. Because again, we got to remember scale, scale, scale. This is 5,000, this is almost probably a little bit wider than the United States. Or we reduce that scale so it's, 2,500 miles per, every 2 pixels is 2,500 miles. You can figure that out. All right, just going along here, having a good time. Okay, so we have some influences. We have right here a natural barrier, land bridge. And a question is, let's start kind of going a little bit backwards on this. Let's talk about civilizations really quick. What civilizations do we got here? Why would we go adventuring here? One of the main reasons is we have this really cool land bridge. Sort of land bridge. It's just kind of like a area that's sealing off everything. But we can definitely do some really fun, awesome stuff with this. So this is a massive trade. I think a really big question is, so we have these 2 big areas of water. We got something down here. Let's add more. That makes it kind of interesting. Let's add some more land there. Then we'll cut some off that as such. Maybe cut some off here. Just trying to keep it really interesting. Just kind of trying to get the eye on it and go, ooh, what's this? Usually in paintings, of course, we want to make sure our eye is traveling certain places. Maps can be a little bit different. If we're here to tell a story or to be clear on stuff, then, a map like Token's really good. However, if we're doing a fantasy map like the Forgotten Realms, we want people to get lost in it. So it's a question of our world map. I think by the time we're done, people are going to get lost on it. But for right now, I think we are going to really want to work on the clarity of things. Come down here. Don't like that. Do not like that. All right, maybe I'm just using the lower elevation brush just to open stuff up here. And going back to, so okay, major trade hub. Well, this would be a trade hub. Let's go ahead and ask the dice, our random roller, how populated each one of these areas are. We're going to divide these up into different areas. Let's just do 4. We'll just do this again. Same thing, same thing. All right. So this area here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's do it more like this. Okay. 1. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Let's do that. And then we will figure this out. Okay, area 1, and we're going to roll a D. Let's say a D. I don't know, D10. 10 being very populated, 1 being nobody's there. Okay, area 1 is a 6. So medium population. Okay, next area. We're going to roll this again. Area 2 is a 3. So not much, if any. Okay, let's go on the next one. And again, if you're making a campaign map, this is probably really just a quick... Ooh, our 3 is 9. So we have everyone here. This is just an exercise if you're building a... if you're building a world, 2... Well, 3 is a 2. Wait, no. 1, 2... No, 4 is a 2. 5 is going to be a population of 7 and 9. So 9. So our big populations are right in this area, and we have a smaller population up here, nothing much here, nothing much here. So we now have some questions. When you're creating a world, something you can do as an exercise, you can do one of these maps, do exactly what I just did, and create a value, give it a number, and just, go with it. Sometimes if you're writing a story or if you're working on something, these little things can really help you generate ideas. Maybe you'll create something that, maybe I should publish something, give like ideas for map maker. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and get this done. I should. Okay. Brainstorming for world creators. That'd be kind of cool. I still think this area... Do we want a big old island up here? Or do we want maybe a smaller island? What's your guys' thoughts? What do you feel like doing? Because right now we know there's a massive population. There has been, or is, massive populations in the middle here, in this kind of down right area, but the island's not that populated, and the sides aren't populated either. And we got some questions on why not. Let's get rid of that island I just made. That's kind of ugly. We don't want to. We got to avoid tangents like this guy here. Again, tangent is when 2 lines are either horizontal or those are vertical together. It creates kind of an edge. Our eyes, when we're looking at maps, we really don't like those. Small line might be more sense if it's not a huge population. Okay. What if there is something from keeping people? I'm making the island now small, but is there a reason why people weren't up in the... I'm going to do islands if that's cool, unless you guys want to do something else. I'll make some small islands here and just kind of separate them. No asymmetry. There we go. Some stuff up there, kind of come down here. Got a guy up here. And we got to get rid of that guy. It's not jiving. Maybe this guy too. Now we have kind of this area here that we don't want. See how the negative space or stuff that's not in that space is creating a tangent? We don't want that either, so we're just going to do this kind of thing. Give hints of more islands up there, more islands up there. Dungeon boss masters? Oh, what do you mean by dungeon boss level monsters? I'm intrigued. Because you just said dungeons and you said bosses. Is that why, if we have dungeons up in these islands, that's another awesome question. What were they for? What were they created? I've always been I like in D&D or like in a little bit of the old school role-playing games, dungeons were a large focus of it, but in modern games they aren't so much. But if we have them, let's create a story on why we have the dungeons, why they're there, and what existed in those. Again, I'm further going to cut down these islands just a little bit so we kind of get again, these are going to be a little on the cold temperate there. I think we're good there. I think we're good. Except this one looks like England, and we are not George R.R. Martin flipping stuff around, so we're not going to do that. Good book series. And if that's what he did with it, more power to him. So let's make this little island about the size of France. Right there. There we go. Not necessarily little. Okay, so we have dungeons up here. Were they ruins or were they constructed? Let's go ahead and ask Mr. Dice on that on an even, unless anyone had. Oh, okay, I think there could be extreme star monster. There's sort of big. Sprax penguin. I think that there could be extremely strong monsters in the islands. So there are rumors that there is something big there due to the amount of monsters. Okay, so we have some nasty stuff. We have some really nasty stuff. I'm just going to make a note right here. Nasty. Okay, dungeons. Now let's go ahead and roll a dice. Even our odds even. Good to see you, by the way, just Praxic. Even means they are like ruins or like something has become a dungeon. So evens, ruins, odds are that they were initially there to make the ruins. Maybe both. I think that'd be cool. So we have maybe some ruins they changed into dungeons. And then something really nasty got in there, and that was the end of that. Okay, very cool. Very cool. All right. So next question is, since our areas down here and up here aren't that populated, why aren't those populated? Mountains, maybe angry nomadic tribes or something else. Also, just to have that is going to answer the question of why we have such a large population in this middle area. Why that? Again, good lore, something to think about. So we have a lot of people that have moved and settled in this area. So we have a really nice area if it's both. Okay, both it is. So we have a large number of people. Okay, so we have up in that area, up here in, the British position. Maybe that was highly populated and people fled from there after a while. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe we have a bunch of reasons. But what if over here, let's kind of make this a little off that balance. We want to get a little bit more mass up in here so it feels a little bit more weighty, so it's not exactly parallel. Let's actually make it pretty big up there. Oh, we said that's where the coastline is, so coastline it will be. So in that case, we're just going to get rid of down here. And we have our coastline up here. Kind of land bridge thing going on like that. And then we'll make down here the part so it's not so symmetrical. Unless you guys like it how it was. You gotta speak soon, otherwise Kind of like that. I actually kind of like that a lot. So we'll just kind of move some stuff over here. So if this area is adjacent to our first map we made, just to review on the first little campaign map we made, that map was ruled by tyrannical government whose gods they created got out of hand and pretty much ate everybody and then ate each other. And then, yeah, bad things happened. And then they, pretty much starved to death and only a few remained. What if this whole area down here is a huge place for refugees? And if it's a place for refugees, it's going to be very green. There's going to be a lot of good farmland. And if we have two locations that are refugees into this peninsula, then, why are people so accommodating to those guys? Was it a cultural thing? Was it just nice? Did people get moved out? We did have in our previous map that we had those, we had like English human and goblins that kind of got kicked out of their home. Maybe we could say that. Maybe they're in this area, kind of a, English European allegory. That'd be kind of interesting. That would be kind of interesting. Got kind of this going. I kind of like this. I really do like this. Okay. That one there, that one there, then one there. Okay. Some here. Maybe they needed new people after a large amount of the original population died off due to monsters or something. Yeah, that makes sense. Heck yeah. So whoever these guys were, they're like, oh, everybody got eaten, they're taken over. We need to go find people, and maybe that's kind of how their culture stuck. Which would make a really interesting, like, non-xenophobic culture. Might be, let's talk, I know something comes to mind really quick. I know in fantasy recently, there's a lot of boo religion, boo this XYZ, but what if we had a religion here that was, okay, dyspraxic. There could have been two nations, and the refugee put a lot into one side, the other side is pushed out of the area. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so refugees is going to be kind of near our other map then. People to get here. So we had a lot of the people come down here from these. So we need to remember about our monsters that were there in the dungeons. We also need to remember about this people. As I was saying, though, kind of fantasy religions on its head. What if we had, I want to say, a benevolent, maybe a benevolent religion that has given risen to a cultural, I can't talk. I'm sorry, sick. A culture of individuals that are very receiving. They like people. It's part of who they are. Maybe it's a cultural of explorers, kind of like Starfleet, but in a fantasy / steampunk world. That'd be kind of interesting. Because rarely, stuff, I don't know, stuff I've been bopping through is the bad guys are always the religions. Now, granted, there's been some in our world. There's been some horrible things done by religions, in the name of religions, of course. But there's also been a lot of good, wonderful things that have happened. So, just something to thought about. Your guys' choice. I'm just going in and gently carving away at this place, this land. Oh, I got an idea. I got a great idea. What if this is in the northern continent, our other map, let me find it, wherever it might be. I think it was here. This map, the wind was going this way, was coming in from. Let's get a. I think we could be an interesting twist on the trope. Yeah, let's do it. That's kind of my choice, as long as everybody's cool with that. So we have in this up here, don't want to protect alpha. Up in this area, we had wind going in from here. We had wind coming in from there. For up here, and wind still coming in from there, but let's, so we got to remember that. So trade winds are coming in here and they kind of peter out, probably some mountains or stuff. Are we liking all these islands up here? I have mixed feelings about it. Is it too many islands? What do you guys want? What do you think? Always get rid of a couple of these. I think getting rid of a couple of these was a good idea. Maybe that was too many. Yeah, we need something to fill in there. Maybe that guy right there we'll just get rid of. I think that feels good. Okay. All right, so we have a benevolent religion that's kind of tied the people together. You know, and again, that could be like it could be beneficent in quotes. Could be like how Romans tolerated religion as long as people gave to the respect to Caesar. Until well, I wouldn't say Rome per se because it's Rome and it depended on the decade it was in. But maybe this isn't idealistic. I mean, we're dealing with fantasy. We're already dealing with idealism. So let's go a good, strong religion. And let's talk about this more. So they're kind of down here in the swarm area. That's kind of neat. Okay, let's get some colors out, and then we'll talk about this religion more. How long's the religion been here? Okay, we're going to make down here pretty warm. Not deserty, this is just me being warm. We're then going to, it's going to be Mediterranean. I'm going to add some green to that really quick here in a second. So this kind of warm temperate. Then up here we get temperate. Then super temperate up there. All right, so kind of this kind of thing. And if this is the size, let's go ahead and we're going to start mountaining stuff. But first we're going to just add some green everywhere down here. And again, we're going to make this really fast and dirty. And if our mountains, let's say we have a mountain range. Let's see how much mountains we should throw down in here. Let's go ask the dice. We're going to do a D12. 12 is, holy crap, it's all mountains. 1 is, some mountains. 7, okay. Okay, that's cool. Let's do that. All right, symbols. And again, this is basically us asking the question, hey, what if X, Y, Z? Are these the mountains we used last time? Or are these... I don't know right now. I think it's these guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's these guys. Yeah, okay. So we have mountainage. 7, so it's there's some, but not a lot. So let's go ahead and we're going to keep our symbol at 25, lock that. And we're going to decide where things are. Now, if we have an area here that's been here for a while, it's a question of if it is sitting on a plate or a plate maybe is down here. In that case, if the plate's moved, let's just kind of put a spine right in the middle here. Okay, and maybe a spine down here. Down here. But it's kind of wide open right over here. Kind of this nice little, flat lands, rolling hills and all that. Everybody's happy and stuff. Unless they want to be miserable, then have at it. And then maybe over here we just kind of have the generic fantasy islands with a ton of mountains in the middle. These guys, and again, I'm just using default symbols and everything else from Wonderdraft. That way, if you guys want to check out this map, you can do it online on our Discord. Download for yourself if you're running Wonderdraft. Maybe some there, some there, some there, some there. Maybe some here. Well, it did say 7, so we got quite a bit. Maybe this area. Maybe that's why these two areas, we're just going to lean into that hard. This is why these two areas are so not inhabited, because, you know, where do you want to live? Mountains? Maybe the mountains down here also, there's a ton of tectonic frequencies. Like it's always rumbling and stuff like that. So let's do that there. All right. So we got our mountains, kind of the basic where our mountains are, and other things like that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get started on details. So let's do this mountain first. So we're just going to go back and forth. Since these mountains are pretty much up and down, we're just going to take our mouse or pen or whatever you're drawing with. We're going to go side to side with that. That makes the mountains look a little bit more believable. Since it's basically a crinkly fold in very hard ground, then it's going to buckle. And that's kind of what we see in real life, a lot of buckling with mountains. Unless there's a hot spot, or you're weird like the Western United States, which are really weird. Go look that up if you're interested in geography. Because that is something I'm doing lately. I'm going to go be a official licensed geographer or cartographer or something like that. I want to do the whole degree thing and, you know, see what happens there. Let's have the spine maybe come up here, maybe down into this area. So we're looking like Alps or something. We're going to make these islands just a little smaller. Maybe these guys are a lot older. That'd be very cool. Older mountains mean more ruins. Younger mountains means, oh crap, things are getting torn apart, which is fun, and might be new ruins there. Because it's all about the antiquity in a role-playing. Maybe. I like dungeon. I like exploring. All right. Then we'll come up down here. Do the same thing. Again, we're just doing a little side to side. I am going to kind of sneak into these ridges. Not ridges, but these, I want to say archipelagos, but that's not what they are. Just going to sneak in and just make a ton of little mountains all over the place. Because this is so much mountains, this could be a warm, still a desert, but kind of a warmer desert. Not anything nasty, but still a desert. Because rain's not getting in here. Since our Coriolis effect is coming in from the west, moving to the east in this area. If this is Mediterranean down here, it hasn't flipped yet, since we're in the northern hemisphere. But a little higher than that, bad boy's going to flip, and it's going to get exciting. Now again, your moisture will always predominantly coming from bodies of water. And the more the wind patterns interact with that, the more stuff they bring it into. Actually, let's get rid of these guys a little bit. Let's kind of chill on that there, maybe that there. Kind of open this up a little bit, this area up. Keep some mountains in there, but not as crazy as I just went. All right. Okay, I'll put some there. Put some there. And again, the process of, like when we're real world building, sometimes we get into a world building rut where we have this wonderful world, and in that world, we like to hang on to the things that are there. But when we've been working on it for 2, 3, 4 years, things can start getting a little stagnant, especially if you're doing a lot of world building. So it's really something I found. You can also go look up this. Brandon Sanderson has a wonderful lecture on this, how you want to kind of mix things up. But doing a little exercise like this, like writing down what, like breaking your map up and rolling the dice and trying to figure out what's where is always a great idea. All right. There we go. There we go. That's fun. Oh, we have something up there. Neat. All right, let's go up to our England place. Maybe we'll have Cinderfall volcanoes here. That'd be cool. That might be why everybody left. One of the mountains blew. Okay, we are going to get some moisture here. It's not going to be as bad. Once we get mountains, we'll do rivers, and once we do that, we will do some... We'll move into forests. And in Wonder Draft, forests are kind of a pain in the butt because of all the icons you're putting down. But right now, we're just going to follow the islands and say, hey, look, these are the height zones of kind of a, it could even be a fault, that'd be kind of interesting. All right, let's get this guy. I think it'd be even more interesting if we did a little something like this, kind of add these guys together. Again, draw big, edit small. Kind of this reminds me of that thing from Total War. Something like that. And put that there. Okay, so let's go over the story so far. This land is a crossroads between people that have fled horrible events. And those events have happened, in these islands and other things. And this really kind religion and the people in it they've taken everybody in, and that openness, that big hodgepodge of people are still there up in here. There we go. Cool. All right, maybe come down here. Maybe down here. Maybe down here and right there. And right there. Getting some more islands there. This is kind of nice. Kind of really like this. All right, river time. Again, we're going to kind of move on this a little quick. Because you don't want me doing that. And that would not be fun for everybody. So let's do rivers. And we are going to start over on this side. And since we have rivers, let's do some mountain rivers that are coming down from the mountain like this. Maybe some here, maybe some rivers here. And again, we're only showing the biggest rivers, and these rivers are the ones that are visible from space. So you can add your own rivers to anywhere you want here. Let's maybe make kind of a meandering, kind of I'm bored river right here that ends in a delta. Let's feed that delta off the mountains and also these rivers and the plains. There we go. There we go. And maybe a runoff there. And we're going to make another runoff over here. Let's put a little bit of a connection here. A little kind of swampland thing going on there. Maybe some here. Let's kind of create one there and there. Not too much. Not too many. Just a lot of wandering rivers. We are going to have maybe these guys come over here to these lakes. There we go. There we go. There's that. That. Come down here. Looking good. We're getting there. Oops. As I totally messed my map up. All right. So this land has a, let's talk about, if this is fantasy, let's talk about symbols and archetypes. We have a very beneficial religion. Of course, that might be something people are fighting to maintain so that, you know, it doesn't become evil despots and whole everybody has to obey me because I'm in charge. Be a nice contrast with our other localized religion in our first map that made those gods. There we go. All right, just little things like that. All right, that's fun. Don't need to go too much. I mean, this is, if anything, this is our like beginning level area for people, I guess. Until we get up into the mountains. Again, we're gonna bring some more of these bad boys down in here. Again, mountains always path of least resistance. Mountains flow down hills, and they do bisect at times, but not often. So if I did something like that, that would not make any sense. So we're not going to do that, but we are going to make a little step going up here. This is also telling us where height areas are on our map. Looks like we got some hills or whatnot up in this area. All right, let's go up to our islands and start just chugging these since the mountains are so close. No, I don't want that. There we go. There we go. I did, since we're on waterways, I just noticed on Incarnate, on their YouTube channel, they just released a video about being water police, river police. Not, if they give it out as pointers, that's fine, but if they're, I'm going to go watch that and maybe give a two thoughts on that, because I really don't like river police. If your map's the way it is, then figure out how to make it so, or give a story to it. Or don't, it's your map, who cares? It's fun to see. But yeah, anyways. But if, yeah, because the maps we use even today are not based on reality. Well, they're kind of based on reality, but it's really the language that Token kind of kicked off. Okay, we're going to color stuff now. Kind of beneficial. Oh, what did I just do? Oh my gosh, did I accidentally close something that shouldn't have closed? Oh crap. Oh, I turned off the land. Ooh. All right. That scared the crap out of me. Dang it, Dan. You always do this. All right. So let's color some stuff. Let's go to our land. Let's go to our brush. Here's our colors. Now, since this is kind of a colder desert area right here, we're just going to add this brown. You could say it's kind of warm. Change this kind of amber red rock to this brown color. Let's go ahead and start on these areas down here by the coast, because we know a lot of our moisture is coming in this area. We're going to use that amber in highlights to make, we're just going to call it the solid green for now. We'll come back with that amber color that we've been using to show elevation. Just a little trick. Again, up here, we're going to go with the darker green to show it's darker, maybe? There we go. There, let's kind of come back with this lighter green and just kind of hit the middle of this area, because we really want to show how vibrant, rich in life this is. Hey, new. Novex, how are you? Sorry about that. Black lung. Good to see you. Yeah, kind of an interesting one. We're again doing making a campaign map, but this map's going to be up in this area, probably right there-ish, or wherever we put it, or our big world map. But it is a campaign map. Okay, we're going to drop the opacity a little bit, and down here we're going to use this orange brush. We're just going to, where there's high spots or mountains, we're just going to, in round strokes, hit these like that. Hit these like that. Not too much though, but just where the mountains are. So we're kind of creating some highlands over here. Again, anywhere there's mountains down here, we want that. Maybe down here. And we can, of course, come back. And this is just giving us kind of an illusion. Since this is a color that, there's some color theory that uses red and oranges and stuff like that as a color, ascending color, or a color that seems to tend to move towards you versus a color that tends to move back. Someone is at my door. Fun times. They're going to have to wait. All right. Get that. Again, where there's mountains, we're going to put this orange stuff. So I'm thinking like, yeah, it's a nice place to be. We'll go a little less here. We'll take it back in this area. Oh my gosh, it's Puppet Master. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see ya. So just to recap on what's going on here. So this is our first of 3 maps we've made. Our first map was this area, kind of the Middle East. Our second map was in the Arctic, and this map is kind of going like up here or up here, depending on how we feel like. We have a center area that it's been, 2 civilization has pretty much in this big area down here in this area. We've had 2 civilizations just pretty much flock to this area to avoid. Apparently there was the guys up in these islands found some ancient ruins, and then they decided to make them into dungeons for some reason, maybe for entertainment, and then things got quickly out of hand, as it usually does in one of our worlds we create on this channel. But that's what makes it fun. So that's kind of where we're at. So this area we're down here, it's very vibrant, it's very full of life. It's kind of this bastion. I missed that last few scenes, my bad, been busy. Hey, no worries, man, no worries. I'm just glad you're here. So we're going to just add a lot of green into these areas, kind of follow the rivers and the coastlines up. Again, with a low opacity. Kind of like right there. We're going to go there, and then we're going to go really dark on these to kind of sell this. Over here, let's not go too much. Let's actually bring a little bit of this brown in. Even here to kind of make a nicer transition. Maybe near the mountains down here, since we start getting a little on this side of things. It's a little warm, not that bad, but a little warm. There we go. All right. Puppet, what have you been playing? You have some good suggestions. Maybe we'll come down here with the same, because this color is not as red, so it doesn't look like it looks like it's a little more flatter instead of rolling hills. And maybe we'll just highlight that. No, that works good. Let's come down here with that. Same thing up here. These mountains are a little bit younger, as we determined, or I determined. Again, you guys have it's your map. You get to override it at any time if you don't like what I say. Down here, we have a really beneficial religion for a change here in this area. Whatever their teachings was allowed the people from these island areas to flee into this kind of center part, and they'd accommodate them and help them prosper, and generally be a nice place to live for once. We do, from our first map though, we do have that theme of those devouring animal gods, those gods they made. They got hungry and ate each other, and they devoured, and now we have indications that they are moving. Do we have one in this area? Or is this area pretty much... Are they aware of it since people came down here? Are they getting up defenses? That'd be kind of cool. maybe some of our people are like warning people and don't worry, I'll turn it into love. Yeah, we're not there yet. We need to find out if there's a threshold when things go Lovecraft on this channel. Um, we have these nasty things coming up. I guess you could say it's not really eldritch since they're man-made. Lovecraft is really more of it came from the stars kind of thing. So I think this is like hubris. That might be one of our main. Hubris might be one of the main campaign ideas for this map. Let's kind of bring some yellow down here, kind of some plainies. There we go. That's fun. Woo. Okay, let's go ahead and make some trees and stuff. Also, hi. We are. I just thought now it's pilot. If I probably said that wrong. I'm so sorry. We are, as a chat, making maps together on this channel, and what we do is we just get together, we randomly create a map, come up with ideas for like world building or ideas anybody can use for role playing games, and we just shout out suggestions. We make a map, we take notes, we keep a lore, we kind of make stories. In the past, in this map, we're actually making a to scale world. This is a really bad representation of it, but we made this map. Well, here we'll change the color. Made this map first, then this map, and now we're up here. We're just going to close that because that looks really bad. And we're going to connect them somehow. But we're talking like where things were. Maps don't have a filing system. Yeah, pretty much. Well, this one actually, Puppet Master, I'm doing good on this. I actually have a filing system for this one. I'm not just going to post all this stuff on in Discord or the website and just vomit it out. But yeah, this is basically people are here to get ideas or give ideas on ways we can make maps or ways we can do other things. You'll have to excuse me. I have one heck of a cold, and I'm all phlegmy. It's gross. All right, so let's get this deep green. And right now we have this kind of we use dice, we use suggestions. If people have like 2 suggestions, we just mash them together. I kind of play referee with that or narrator, and that's how we get this map. So far we have this center section where pretty much any refugee from any lands can come and chill. So this area is really inhabited. With this area, it's kind of big trade network nexus. Bad stuff happened on these islands. They got some monsters that went nuts. People had to leave. The nature of the monsters we haven't decided yet. Down here, we had some other people flee from like way down southeast because they might have made some gods that got out of hand, and they were like, "Okay, you guys need to chill. We made you." And the gods are, "Yeah, you might have, but we're in charge now." And shenanigans ensued, and people got eaten. And that happened about 500 years ago, and we now have some of those gods creeping about, moving into different areas of the world. So we have that kind of theme. We also have a theme on the hubris of man kind of going on. Man or the quote quote name giving races or whatever. Like the guys up in these islands, they decided they found some ruins and made them into. I think we're going blood sport, guys. If that's kind of what I deduced. But yeah, that's kind of what we do. That's what this is all about. All these maps are free. You can get them online. We've been using these trees as default. Let's go a little bit bigger with those. All right, a little bit bigger with those. All right, a lot bigger with those. We're gonna lock that in, probably about 40. And we're just going to start drying out. We'll use a spray brush. We're just going to fire these off. We don't want to cover too much, but we're going to have some large forests in this area. Plains, not so much. This plains area, not so much, but definitely in these shadows. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to go in and just blop trees down and then carve them out. Yeah, any of these maps, if you have a role-playing game or anything like that, just grab them, use them for free, publish them. We don't care. We being I and some members like Pubmaster and everybody else, and RJ and Spraxic and let's see, Adonis and Talrefit. You too. Again, I probably totally screwed up your name, and I apologize. Okay, so we're gonna have some forest there. Maybe let's get some warmer forest up in this area. And again, after this is done, I've only got a few minutes left because I'm not going to be able to talk once this cough medicine. Uh, I took it and I'm starting to get a really craggly, nasty throat, and that's not good. And I promised my wife I wouldn't be stupid for once and actually take care of myself for once. All right, so we have our rain shadows again. A lot of our moisture and wind are coming from the southeast. It is pouring up in these areas, so we're going to get massive, large, kind of call them rain shadows. It's when clouds try to move over topography that is high, then they do it, slams into the land, and the clouds pretty much release their water going over these high spots. So in this case, it's in the southeast. So anything on the east side is going to have a rain shadow being on the west, forest and crap on the east. And that's what I'm kind of doing right now. And again, these are pretty much just for grins and giggles. Up here is going to be a little different. Let's just cram this sucker with forests. Now, we did mention RJ's monsters in this area that lives in these giant things people made. And I know the answer that's going to probably be coming. Where do these monsters come from? Were these like bred? Were they brought from around the world? Are we going to go all Lovecrafting here? Are we going to be original on this channel and not do Lovecrafting monsters like we usually do? Yes, I'm grinning ear to ear because it's funny. But where did the monsters come from? Where did they? I kind of like, these people travel the world. We do have these people kind of imperialistic, and we do know that some of them are on the southern poles. They've been kind of either stranded there or they had to move there because shenanigans. We could say maybe not that these guys were using as the British, or excuse me, the Britannia, but maybe they could have like collected weird species. Maybe there was a location up there for learning, and they just collected monsters. And then someone said, "Hey, we got a lot of monsters they're not using. Let's throw them into dungeons and bet on them." This practice says people could have collected some of the animals of the god minions to them first, but now since they're getting power, it's gotten out of hand. Okay. That'd be kind of interesting. Like those god animal people, they like maybe sent some things as spies, and maybe those led a rebellion or something like that. But I think having a menagerie of creatures from all over the world that people go and look at, that's kind of fun. I kind of like that idea. What do you guys think? Basically, if there was something weird, people would go find them. And if that was the case, then you would have... Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, sweet. Thank you, RJ. Okay, so we have people collecting stuff. It's like Pokemon, but you go to all the regions and you get too many Pokemon, and then you're like, hey, let's have these suckers fight, and they fight, and then they're really nasty stuff's left. The godlike Pokemon. It's Pokemon gone bad. That's why everybody left. Put it into kind of a more simple view. Okay. Now that we've kind of got our islands fleshed out, we are going to just select our filter. We're going to go to our trees, and we're going to kind of back these up a little. Kind of follow our rivers up so it looks good. Get some of these out of here. Kind of surprised on where the rivers go. That's always fun. Again, this is really quick and dirty. If you need a map in under, let's say you're playing and you're narrator or game master or whatever you want to call yourself. Let's say you need a map. This is really quick. I don't want to say dirty because it's actually kind of fun and we're hitting all the points of world building. But this is just a really quick way of just blasting out maps and settings. Still like that. No, absolutely no pre-established lore to participate. You just come in and there's one time we did a map that it turned into it was one of my favorite one, a giant canyon area that was overgrown with red moss and there were spider things living in there. And just go nuts, whatever we want to do. And we'll adjust the map. Anything we want to do here, we'll adjust the map and modify the lore. And then everything here, the maps themselves, I'll post online on the Avantnovis website. No ads or bookmarks or anything like that. The only reason it's still there is because to post these maps for you guys. We also throw them in Discord too for grins and giggles. Oh, there we go. But yeah, it's a theme on map making, a big theme on world building. I think if there's anything, it's world building and getting ideas. And I think the originality of stuff, and again, this is my personal opinion, what is original comes out of, taking ideas and squishing them together and other things and just kind of making something new. I believe personally that's where original things come from. And then it just diversifies and diversifies and diversifies. And that's how you get all the cool stuff. All right, there we go. Just getting rid of these trees and stuff like that. I think right now, lore-wise, I think there is one civilization. We know one civilization bought the farm real hard. One civilization are now down in the south. Maybe they got stranded there. Maybe they got kicked there. But glad I locked that. I just totally messed that up. They're down there. They're on the ice. They have these giant harvesters that they pull through. And I kind of made this lore because I was trying to go to sleep and I couldn't. But there's certain minerals that fall from the Aurora Borealis down there. And they collect those minerals to make these huge floating cities on these giant gas bags that heat up. And then they have these walkers, it's like a mixture of Mortal Engines, trees are off, Mortal Engines and Dune down in the Arctic there is kind of the way I'd pitch that to somebody. But we could say these guys came from here or someplace else. They'd be either diesel punk or steampunk. But, all kinds. Doesn't matter. It's whatever you guys want to do. We'll all tie it together and keep it harmonious as much as possible. And if not, that's cool too. Okay. Now, anything that we do put, I just grab a notepad and copy and paste. If people are cool with that, I'll just grab chat and just copy and paste it. Throw it on a notepad, throw it up in Discord so everybody has the notes. If you offer anything and don't want to be in that, please let me know. Also, we try to keep these things at a nice 90s PG-13, not 80s, 90s PG-13. So, keep it clean, relatively. And having said that, there is someone, Puppet Master, that always devolves a conversation into some H.P. Lovecraftian stuff. But I enjoy that. We've done some cool stuff here. There we go. Get this done. This done. Just kind of cleaning up my mess I made. All right, kind of got a cool little thing going here. Cool little thing. Going to end a little soon though. However, I'd like to get and again, I will go in later today, probably once we're done, and clean this map up and put all the details in and actually make sure it looks nice. Not, we don't have forests floating in the middle of the lakes and rivers and crap like that, which we totally do right now. All right. Thunder Nugget. Uh-oh. Message retracted. Either way, welcome to the stream, Thunder Nugget. Hope you're having a great time. I don't know if I... Funny shaped volcanoes. All right, here we go. All right, let's talk about, let's get a little science. Do I have any volcanoes? I know I have assets not from Wonderdraft that are volcanoes. Yeah, why not? Funny shaped volcanoes. Okay, so let's find out where these volcanoes were. We discussed that. Well, let's copy and paste this. And again, this is an aspect of our fantasy world that is now there. Oops. And since we have volcanoes, we're going to decide using relatively, quote, quote, realistic things. So we have crumpling of a plate there. Oops. So mountains there, mountains there, mountains down there. Let's redo that. See if we can get a little higher with this. There we go. Okay, so we have mountain here, mountain here, mountain here, mountain here. We were discussing earlier if we had a plates moving away, so our plate boundaries, this plate is moving this way and this one's kind of going this way, then we're getting hot spots all throughout here. This is where all of our volcanoes would be. Now, with volcanoes, oh heck yeah, yeah. Our volcanoes up here. There's our big question is what type of volcanoes are there? We have two types of volcanoes. Yeah, that's kind of it's like you want something, and then we figure out you're using real world geography and other stuff and science to kind of say, if this is here, this is what it's going to take to put that here. So in this case, we have an option for our volcanoes to be in this orange area. That's one place. They could be down here. They could be both. How much volcanoes do you guys want? Maybe they're right here. If they're right here, then we have another plate boundary that is maybe going over here onto a hot spot. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So let's do this. Let's vote. We're going to have, let's say this is area A, this is area B, and this is area C. If you want volcanoes, this is the areas that make sense. We could even do A, B, C, D down here. We can either roll a dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you guys can vote. If you want one in the area, in chat, just A, B, or C. Or if you want me to roll dice and just have these random locations, hit dice and we'll do it. And we will change the world according to the shenanigans the dice give us. We kind of did that already at the first of this. Just a way to really get in. If you're creating worlds, it's also really good exercise to kind of do this. You might find something you like even more than what you had planned. Heaven knows I have. That has happened quite a bit. But it's nothing that, you're not stealing from anybody. It's just something we're all making together. That's, I guess you could say, original, since we're all kind of throwing it at the wall and seeing what we all like. C, okay, I got a C. Anybody else for area C? So we got C right here. Got another C. That's 2 for C. Definitely C's going in. Pub Master said A. Okay, so let's do A and C. Okay. B. Oh, someone said B. Okay, ACB. So this northern part, we are going to have volcanoes. Woot! So let's go ahead and do that now. These volcanoes. So you have... we're going to break it down to make things really easy. You have volcanoes that are formed from hot spots, and you have volcanoes that can be formed from pressure. And that's generally the two big families. Sometimes, so you have those two families, and then you have what's leaking out of the ground, the magma form. In Hawaii, or other places like that, like the Arctic, if you're thinking like pirate volcanoes and stuff like that, you're looking, is it a high silica? silicon level? Or is it low? It's called a Popoypoy flow, meaning it's a viscous lava with a lot of silicate in it, or it has no silicate in it. Either way, you got lava volcanoes, or we have exploding volcanoes. Now, exploding volcanoes are they basically like in the United States or in parts of Italy. You have volcanoes, and Iceland's probably really good, that once they get angry enough, they're like a pressure cooker and they just explode. And that explosion is so hot and so powerful, it basically liquefies the ice or anything over them. So you have an exploding volcano that is sending down these pyroclastic flows that kills everything. Or you can have slow moving lava that, you know, falls out of place. Or we can have both. Does anyone have a preference? Because if we had a slow moving lava, we would get land that looks like, actually like these. These would be a good example of a hotspot. Our volcanoes would be in the middle here. So like would have this kind of action, would have the, nope, want this. Would have the start of the volcano and it would move out along channels. And if we had exploding volcanoes, they'd still be there, but it would like crush all the forests and stuff. Goes in cycles. Ooh, that's interesting. Both is good. Okay, so we have both. Let's do this. Let's say we have hot volcanoes up in this area, up in these areas. Because these islands would be similar. We're just going to expand these areas so it kind of looks like fingers splaying out a little bit more. And apparently we're going to have a lot of volcanoes here. So this is a real hot spot. And actually, I don't like that. I'm going to be pedantic, and then over here we're going to have our really big volcanoes, our pressurized volcanoes. So if this is pressure volcanoes, let's down here, that means let's go back to this drawing. Okay, so we have our lava volcanoes here. I'm just going to put notes here so I don't forget, because that's what I do well. So lava volcanoes here. So our hotspots like this, meaning we have this entire plate is moving like this into this area. And so that means this area is a subduction zone. And if these are pressured together, then this plate is moving down like this, and we're getting a squish like this. So that is moving this way, kind of like a window wiper, causing a huge pressure zone. And down here, we're just going to make an angry volcano too. That's really cool. Like, yeah. That'd be very cool. So it goes into cycles. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and add those volcanoes. We'll do that symbols. I'll come back and fix these forests, because forests is always a pain in the butt. Let's do some volcanoes. We're going to symbols. I am again going to try to use default symbols from Wonderdraft, and I should save, because everything is blowing up. Yes, that is the name of this. Is everything is blowing up. Let's see if I have any symbols. Okay, let's just go up to all and see if we can find some volcanoes. If we have, any volcanoes, you're going to get ash. But it's going to make the land around the areas. That's why it's so, bountiful down in this area. Okay, hold on. Dr. Pepper break. Dr. Pepper break. Oh, sponsor me. Okay. Let's just go ahead in here and let's find. Not that. We don't want that on. We want these big. Use these generic symbols. I'll set the scale 25 is what we're working on with mountains. We're going to set these as our volcanoes. We are going to use the let's do this. We'll put these on layer 2 just because we can. That might be too much, but we'll figure it out. Let's bring this down a little bit smaller. These are going to be our wet volcanoes, is probably way to say. Then we'll come back in. And since we're kind of on this arc, our volcanoes are going to form along the arc. And for grins, we are just going to put these kind of in the middle of these islands. So we got 3 there. We're going to come over here. Let's make a big one here. Oh, volcanic lakes. Ooh, okay, cool. One there, Krakatoa. Let's blow some crap up. Okay, let's say we had, got to find a good spot for this. If this is the ridge, we're going to wipe out everything up here. Does anybody mind me killing everything in this area and ripping up all the mountains? All right, we're going to do that. So we're going to make our Krakatoa right here. We're going to get rid of all these trees so we can see the ground. Well, Krakatoa, I'll give you Krakatoa. All right, going to be here. And we're going to say there once was a mountain named Bob. Bob lived right there. Bob had a lot of friends. Okay, this is Bob's island. And then Bob exploded. And how we're going to do that, and we're talking like totally exploded. Like total, man. We're going to take our eraser brush. We're going to kill everything right about there. And we're going to get rid of Bob because Bob is done being, well, we'll come back to Bob. We'll not get rid of him yet. So since we're going to be modifying our land, we'll go back to the land tab in our age. We'll come down here. We'll brush size down there. And we're going to start making our happy little crater along this. Let's do that a little faster. A little smaller. Again, we're drawing big, editing small. Oops. Editing small. Okay, so we have this thing going on. Maybe this is where it breaks through. Down there, down there. Where the islands are, we still have land. But we get this kind of effect going on. How's that look, guys? We'll do that. Now, when did this go down? Was this a recent event? Well, something that big, man. That's going to cause an ice age. Because if that sucker went off, yeah, you'd have like almost a summer without, a year without summer. I think that happened in the mid 1800s. We're also going to put like this archipelago here where Bob used to be. Pretty big actually, size of Kansas. So Bob blew out there. You can always come up with a, call that mountain Melgogny, after Melgogny hernias. My son had to go get one of those fixed recently, and I don't like those. All right. How's that look, guys? Woohoo! Okay, so let's get rid of Bob now. Or should we keep Bob? Let's keep Bob. Let's keep Bob. We're keeping Bob. Bob's not getting erased. Bob is now there. All hail Bob. All right. Cool. Very cool. Well, let's get some other of these guys, and we're just going to say these ones are just pressures waiting to go off. Let's use a different mountain form. Now let's do this. Make them kind of big. So these are going to be our pressure volcanoes, like Mount St. Helens. Pacific Northwest volcanoes. And when these suckers go, they go. And you're going to get, of course, your rivers. Oh, I made too many there. Your rivers are going to follow these volcanoes down because of them generating pyroclastic flows. We are, with those pyroclastic flows generated, I want back to that 25. Boop. That's where all your water, I mean, it's basically a giant debris field that runs down a mountain. So we need another one down there. So there's that. Let's make another here. Let's make another here. This place is hopping. And run there. Why not? Okay, so we're going to have to change our land a little bit. This is where most of our waterways, well, not most of it, but we could have rivers coming down the mountains, but once one of these suckers goes off, it's going to like tear apart everything. So you're going to kind of get this. If you look up in the Seattle area, a lot of their natural formations are based on, it's not necessarily 100%, but a good deal of the time, anytime we get these type of volcanoes, again, the pyroclastic flows and everything else are going to follow the path of least resistance. And a valley is a nice path of least resistance. So we got that thing going on. Let's go find some more of these bad boys. All right, we have our big lava ones here. Lava ones, these guys are a little bit different though, because it basically forms mass. So the rivers are going to be kind of scraggly away from them. And we're actually going to have the center of this island still hot. So we got to get rid of some vegetation if we got these here. So these are all hot spots. We have geothermic. Let's get rid of some trees. No one likes trees. Get rid of trees, except me. I like trees. They're pain in the butt to map though. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of the trees here, and these areas are gonna be a lot more elevated. We're gonna have some lakes coming down. All right. Well, thank you, Thunder Nugget. All right. All right. Cool. All right, and then we're going to. Let's kind of cut back a little bit on the mountains too. We're gonna redo the mountains all in these areas. So it looks like they're forming off these. So kind of all mountains lead to our volcano mountains on these islands to give that kind of that range. Also, it's going to draw the eye into these mountain ranges a little bit, and that's going to be the focus of these islands. Are these? So yeah, you're thinking like England erupting with fiery lava because of hot spots. That's freaking awesome. Okay, so let's go back to find what we used for mountains. I believe it was not that guy. I believe it was this guy. Yep, that's it right there. We're going to bring this down to about, let's go 30, and we're going to put these on the base of the mountain. Then we're going to sprawl them like this. So it looks like this is where the magma, technically lava's above ground, magma's underground. Am I teaching third grade geography? Okay, so see how that grabs the eye there? We're going to come down here, and each one of these spots are going to be hot spots. Because if they're still like this, they'll constantly boil over. So we're looking at some Chilean mountains. We're looking at some Icelandic mountains with these. We're going to put more. We're going to put some more here because that'd be awesome. We're going to put more volcanoes here. Oh, not that one. I like that one. Yeah, we're going to put another volcano here because why not, right? Volcano. No, we'll do let's do another one down there. Yeah, cool. Laws of threes and art. 2's boring, 3's interesting. Just add some mountains there. There we go. There's another one there. And this guy here, do the same thing. Splay them out. Can lose this area here so it doesn't, our eyes attracted to where the lava is going. So like that, then like this, then like this. So splayed out. They're creating more land versus getting rid of the land. Cinder cone volcanoes get rid of a lot of land. They're also your highest elevation, so yeah. Krakatoa. Boom. Okay, we had some down here. Didn't we say we wanted some here too? I don't want to leave out any of our islands that have, we're supposed to, actually, let's, yep, same thing. Boop. We'll put it right there, maybe one right there. And, oh, there's a volcano right there. Hello. These will probably be older volcanoes. So this times in this area, you're going to get a lot of lava tubes, giant obsidian tubes that run through all these islands. Something to think about, because your smaller ash and debris will be weathered away from inside the obsidian, and that obsidian will slowly, we're going to make that kind of cool. There we go. That's cool. And that obsidian is going to be weathered away, so you get these giant ash and pumice lava tubes. Kids, that's something to think about. A volcanics, a Scottish Highlands. Heck yeah! Oh, that's awesome. We have like some tribes here, you know, playing bagpipes as their mountains explode. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to come down here, there, and get this guy here. Again, hotspots raised. More hotspot. More hotspot. Maybe there. Come back to this bad boy up here. That's a big one. Same thing. All right. Now that we've done that, let's get some of our rivers. If I can remember how to do this. Yes, there we go. Cold medicine starting to take effect. Our rivers are just going to wander up to these. As such, maybe kind of getting a little squirrely there. But definitely it shows like, hey, the rivers are kind of avoiding these because they got filled over. And right now we're just waiting for erosion to take place to create something a little bit better. Well, not a little bit better. All mountains are beautiful. Except Nevada. I'm sorry, from Nevada. Actually, the Ruby Mountains are really pretty. Actually, I should not class Nevada's mountains. All right. And maybe we'll, oh, no, don't bifurcate, Dan. Oh, this guy didn't like that. Okay, cool. Let's also do this. Let's go in and color this, because again, we want that eye to be drawn to that. We're going to add a little bit of orange here where these mountains are, but just a little bit to create kind of a hot spot on it with our eyes that, hey, there's shenanigans afoot up there. More shenanigans right there. All the shenanigans right here and right here. And then we're going to come with a darker color and make sure we get these. Okay, see, that just draws it right in. Then we're going to use a darker color. Let's go with a pretty dark color here. We're going to make a brush size go, grab this guy. And we're just going to come in and color the mountain areas, that kind of that dark. Just really tap it in nicely. See how that really pulls the eye? If frames and pulls the eye, then we'll go back and recolor those. And we got another one right here. Another bad boy right there. And if they're constantly erupting, there's not much going on there. Let's say these guys down here are not constantly erupting. They're just the sneaky mountains, and they're just going to explode here sooner versus later. We're at 25, so let's go ahead and there we go. So these guys are just waiting to go up. Who knows? We could do like a before and after. This can be like the before map, and then we can make an after map after all these guys explode. That'd be fun. How will we do that next week, guys? Or do you want another map so we can... lava tubes, yeah. You could have those lava tubes be like dragon nurseries or spawning places. And if you had other monsters in there that the dragons preyed on, hey, fun times, fun adventures. Great place to kill your... Oh, nope, we do not want mountains to get erased. We just want the trees. There we go. Now we're going to tidy this up a little bit more. All right. Okay, I am getting really hoarse, and I should have been off a while ago, but I got really involved. So bad, Dan. So we're gonna just kind of finish this up. Does anybody develop? Okay, obsidian could affect the cultures that develop on their considered islands. Usually lack large iron deposits found in continents. Maybe obsidian weapons. Oh yeah. Let's go. That'd be awesome. Something else they could do. Um, what show it? There's a really old video game, and you're probably it kind of wasn't the best video game, but there's a video game called The Mark of Cree, and it had to do with like islanders from New Zealand and stuff like that, and they had some really awesome obsidian weapons, but they'd enchant them that the obsidian would grow back after they've been like dipped in something. So you play chips or something like that. You dip it in a concoction or a magical fill in the blank or a muddy pool, and it'd gather elements. And okay, so we have obsidian fields over here. Okay, well, let's flesh out this place. I mean, we're up here, right? So let's get rid of this. These are older lands, so they're going to be a lot more heavily forested until something explodes. Or someone, feeds a lactose intolerant god to, feeds cheddar to a lactose intolerant volcano god. If you can name that, reference, I'll give you my next map I'm putting up to buy for free. If you guys get that reference. Speaking of which, the maps are still free. All of our maps we've done. Well, all the quote-unquote professional ones I've done on Drive-Thru RPG, link in the descriptions, are still free. They will be free until this Saturday at midnight. Then they go back to regular prices. It's been about 4 or 5 months, so I'm going to do that. And we'll be releasing our other maps we got some big ones coming in. And they're going to be 3D and also have all the cities and stuff and whatever you want there. Again, massive shill, but that's how I pay for all the software to keep this channel going, is through maps. And I got enough software, so I put them for free. All right, we're back here. Bog iron could also work as source of iron as well as volcanic ash. What if we had like the iron stuff maybe in these areas? Because it would have a lot of the exploding areas. If we had iron here, you could almost have this clashing culture of like iron, and then you could have these guys with obsidian weapons. And if you had kind of a technological arms race, you get some really cool fantasy stuff, like certain obsidian weapons made to cut iron, or like pig iron, or as you said, bog iron could be iron that is specifically made to shatter obsidian weapons and stuff like that. Really interesting way to do stuff. I always liked practical magic when, someone creates water, tribe gets jealous, etc., and it just escalates. And that's how technology moves. And with magic, that'd be the same. Or with any type of, paracausal stuff. It'd just kind of be an arms race. Power creep, and then a debuff every now and again. Be a good question. Okay. Hear me out here. So, our little Krakatoa site here, where, was this artificial? Did someone make something they shouldn't have and exploded? Or did this just go off naturally? No crazy stuff, or no one knows why it went off. Another thing to think about. Did someone like say, hey, I'm going to invent the super spell, and they blow up their hometown? Of course, once that happens, the world's in a real bad state for a while. Something that big going off. Okay, so we've got our mountains. All right, very cool. So we got bog iron, we have obsidian weapons, we have strange. It's almost like Jurassic Park up here in this area. You know, volcanoes and stuff, but they're not really Jurassic Parks. They're just stuff that's collected up here. And it's just basically a fight for ecology. I think the biggest question up in this area, though, is how long, how long has it been since people got out of here? Is it a recent development? Like, or to kind of match with our other lore from our first map, what if this was recently? I don't know about recently. Maybe in the last 25 years, one of those weird devouring gods got up here and like enslaved some of the critters, but then the critters were better than it, or they brought something worse than it. That'd be kind of fun. That makes it interesting. That makes we have another Uber villain if we did something like that. We have another Uber villain up in this area that, you know, is not our big bad. Because everywhere has big bads. But we have something worse than those abominations. They try to stupid druids blowing up mountains. Okay. That's the lore. Someone tried to stop it from erupting or something and it backfired and boom. How long ago did our little area here go boom? Maybe we're just getting out of the ice age, sort of in the northern hemisphere. Maybe that's been going on for like a decade or so. That'd be really interesting. Just adding force right now, just filling in some blanks, getting this done, asking the questions. All right, so it's been about 50 years since the sky blue. I'm just going to write that in the chat. So should we kind of flip this on their head that like maybe some nature guys are up there and the nature guys were like, oh, there's too many people and we have to do something and let's harness the power and boom. Stupid hippies. Because we have a really good religion here that's saving everybody and helping people. What if we'll flip it on its head and the natural guys are kind of like, oh man, if I say that reference, it's going to date me. But they're like nature good, human bad, or civilization bad. That'd be kind of fun. Just flip an expectation there. And we're just adding some more. Well, that's a river that will never be there. Even if I am a big fan of bifurcation. We're just going to have to fix that now. Oh, nope. Apparently we're making a lake there. Hey, look now. It's a lake. Woo! Okay. And again, these ideas we're going through and what we're talking about, please use them for your own stuff. Make books out of them. If you want to use this map to make your own book about how the druids blew themselves up, that'd be great, or how they didn't. This is all ours. It's all yours. Just be cool about it. You know, don't go attacking someone for using the same map that you got offline here. I don't know if that's happened yet, but, you know, it's life. Again, we'll put our force here. They could be altered of some animal god awakening, so due to the fear of the church, someone to protect her out of the volcano. That would be very... Oh, well, hey, that hits, you know... If I'm hitting two birds with two stones, well, with one stone, I'm trying to get rid of civilizations and deal with whatever's there and empower what not. Was it... Okay, here's a question. What if it was that one of the devourer animals that taught the druids that. Actually, I think double would be fun. What do you guys think? Was it all? It's good. It's a question on lore and how we want to present the story. Get some more trees there. God, did I just vomit mountains over here? I sure did. Yeah, the winter, something that big, you're going to be at least a decade or more in pretty much an ice age up here in the north. There's no question about that. You're pretty much, yeah, it's going to get frosty. That'd be interesting. Okay, this sucker blows up. This entire region, you'd have your jet stream. No, 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 I don't want to say my word. Okay. Let me do this. You'd have your jet stream according to what we've done in previous. We'll just copy and paste this. All right, so let's zoom in. Let's grab a marker. Right now, our current Coriolis effect is coming in this way. Now that is caused by heat, oceans, and the movement of a planet. Why does Jupiter have such long storms? Well, pretty much this. So if this is going this way, then our switching, actually that's going to be bigger considering the size. There we go. It's going to be like that. So this bad boy explodes. Okay, initial explosions like that, and then stuff is going to go that way. So anything that way, life sucks for them. And eventually it would eventually affect this area, but not as bad as this. But again, the northern hemisphere might have just been in a giant ice. Yeah, this would be cold for like 50 years. And it's basically thawing out now. Yeah, 50 years is not a lot, but if we're looking at atmospheric disruptions from geological activity, I don't know. Do you guys want more than 50 years? I mean, what if this really just set off an environment and now it's starting to warm up? Is it warming up or is it still freezing up there? Because we're talking like a scale 11 on maybe, yeah, scale 11 on the Richter scale when that sucker blew. Dope. That could also be why, tying this into our first land, this could be why some of the god animals, well, no, that was 500 years previous. This is recent in history. So what do you guys think? 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? How long has this been going on? Recent history is fun, and it's something new. A lot of times in fantasy literature or fantasy in general, we get the ages have passed. Do we want to kind of subvert that, or do we want to kind of say it's that this is what made it like it is? This is what happened. Something blew there and has nothing to do with those devouring gods that are sneaky everywhere. But we do know it was definitely not intended or intentional. Okay, 50 years it is. 50 years it is. So the entire world, so if that means that's happened, it explains why everybody's coming to this area. It explains why if people up in this, well, let's go back to that drawing. So we had people in this area of the world get snowed out, and so they came this way, and this area of the world because of the effects of the wind, and your airstream would be coming right through there. As such, I'll actually kind of be going like this, but here's maybe it's like this. Yeah, let's have it do that. So on average, your airstream would be coming in like this. Bouncing up here. So this area was known as good. So we had a ton of immigration up into this area. These guys GTFO'd. Not much here. There wouldn't be, and there'd just be barely trees in this area by now. And then everybody down here, not much water. Deserts would be super bad. They come here too. So we have our lore. We have our explanation. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. So, okay, so 400 years ago and recently 50. So if this guy here was really active, a question can be asked, why did said, mistake-driven druids, why did they come up and target this volcano or this cinder cone Why did they use this guy? And the answer was, well, it happened earlier. And if I'm trying to wipe out, all of man. Okay, no force in this area. That's right. That's what I was going to do. I got distracted. Yeah, we're not going to have. We might have a couple forests here and there. It's mainly just scrub oak. So we got mudslides. Let's throw some glaciers and some hot spots in this area. Make it all kinds of gnarly. Yeah, you wouldn't have anything. Okay, so this guy erupted about 400 years ago. Druids are like, hey, we want to make the world better. So they come over here and they mess with this, and they just so happened to blow it. Or moved a hotspot or plate into it. It was bugging me. All right. No, I do not want to participate in your survey. I'm using Clyde as my AI and don't need anything else. Clyde, I don't know what it's called. They don't do generative artwork, so I'm cool with it. Okay, so cool. We got some things there. Yep, lots of people, nations, a lot of nomadic barbarians, be moving, possibly conquer. Yeah, no, yeah, your barbarians, man, it'd be like what? What was it? When did the Genghis come into the? Oh. Give me, okay, yeah, I was about to say 1400s is when things in the Russian steppes got interesting. That's cool. So this land then is pretty much our, if this was an MMO, this is our starting area where things are good. Everybody's fled here because of shenanigans, but you got forces in the world that have been displaced and looking to kind of move on in. Got pirates, sea people, all kinds of stuff. Those that didn't explode. Yeah, no, these mountains would be, everything here would be gone. That was that big. Oh, they really screwed up. Some of our mountains would be gone. Well, let's do this. Let's just go in and erase some of these mountains. We're going to start our mouse from here, and we're just going to come back like that. Not you. You stay, Bob. And we're just going to come from that area and erase. Do you see how that's kind of carving up our mountains? There we go. That looks better. Okay. So this area up here is the cause of a lot of people's problems recently. Now we're going to have to get rid of, let's get rid of trees. Again, not much left up here after the sucker went off. And we're also we have some, in 50 years, you're going to have, your grasses are going to be back, your grazing animals would be back as long as you have, well, it depends on if you have a lot of predators in the area. Predators equals greens, too many herbivores, or grazing animals equals mud. See Yellowstone. All right, we're just going to add another little river here. There we go. Okay, let's color this in a little bit. Let's say around this guy we're going to go muddish. Just to kind of emphasize that bad things happened. Mistakes were made. Oh yeah, this would displace everything. This would be bad. We're talking like world upheaval. 50 years, you know what? 50 years and you'd be 50 years after this blew and you're starting to come out of it. You'd be lucky then. There'd have to be some paracausal shenanigans at work for you to make sure that this didn't really royally hose everybody down. Probably royally hosed everybody down though. All right. That. Let's get this in so it looks. And then I'm going to do something I usually wouldn't do. I'm going to go white. Because white offers us kind of an ash sterile. That's a nice little viewpoint there. This is one of the languages on the map that it'd be like, hey, what's here? What's here? Oh, what happened there? Why is it that color? Ooh, what's going on there? Well, you know what? Let's do this too. Let's do this. Let's craggle up this area as well. Is craggle a word? I don't know. I keep on using it and I love it, and it just nails what I do with maps. So craggle these up so it really draws some attention that, you know, someone sees that and it's like, ooh, what happened there? Yeah, there's not any ruins here. There's nothing like that. Everything is just gone. Could get some heavy, very heavy. That might be interesting. We talked about a lot of iron ore. Your heavier elements, your heavier materials, your high carbons, or in that kind of family would remain. Of course, you'd get some heavy elements that you really don't want to have exposure to. But hey, it's all fun in games till the dog mutates, right? So yeah, anything left here is just hard shale. Limestone would be gone pretty quick. Be like granite and other things. But we're just gonna really mess this up. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Cool. Cool. We just dragons. Yeah, everything go. If you had like dragons up in this area, they would have to go south. So they come down here. So people have basically banded in this area together to pretty much survive. Let's save this so I don't do something stupid. Let's to end this, we're gonna have to end this soon because I can't talk. It's really hurting now. We're gonna make some regions. That's a path. Okay, so we're gonna make some regions here. So we're gonna make this one. Let's go kind of a dirty brown. This area here is where things. It's upper opacity. Whew, lagging. Yeah, Windows had an update, and it's, as usual, playing hell with my computer. Oopaka, sorry about that. Okay, so this area is pretty much a no zone. So this area here, let's go, this is a happy place. We're going to make it, I don't know, purple. So everyone probably consolidated into this area for protection. And maybe up into here. Maybe these are just outliers here. Maybe some older kingdoms down here. Maybe some old trade kingdoms. You know, have really big old trade kingdoms down here. They could see these guys as an upstart. And maybe up here in Brittany, we just have people kind of trying to take back the place. But there's shenanigans afoot, and there's monsters and tigers and bears. Oh my. Okay, cool. We're going to get rid of these. This is just a representation. I'll get the chat posted on our Discord. Link can be found in the description of the video, or I'll just put it in chat. Also, this map will be available at Avantnovis.com and also on Discord once I get it all cleaned up. And once that's all cleaned up, I'll post it. I'm not going to do much with this because I'd like to come back here and just kind of, we might have a day of just talking about civilizations and where people are and what's going on, because we're getting this kind of a cool narrative of a recent event that happened. We're going to call recent events about 100 years or so. So the world blew up. All the elves died. That'd be funny. Also, what's a good time for me to stream, guys? I was doing it based on Eastern time. I was trying to do it at 4. I got really distracted with emergency I had to take care of, but I did say I'd stream today. So I definitely was a man of my word and streamed. What is a good time for you guys? Kind of nailing down times and days and stuff like that. So right now it'd be about 9 o'clock Eastern. versus 4 p.m. Eastern. U.S. Eastern Seaboard, that is. We do have a bunch of friends from Kenya that like I might, yeah, we'll figure it out, right? I just want to be accessible to all, and our buddies in Kenya are asleep right now. Okay, let's get rid of this. When this mountain blew, what if that was, and this is something to think about later, what if we have the devouring gods down in the Middle East area? Did this affect them? Is that why they're getting away from the place? Was a ward broken? Is it all the druids' faults? Because that'd be hilarious. It's all the druids' faults all the times. I'm going to fix this area down here really quick because it looks a little scuzzy. There we go. Put that there. Okay. All right. Almost done with this. I'll get this. You know what? I'll probably go post this once I'm done with the stream. Again, it's free for you guys to use. It's going to be about, I'll try to get it under 20 meg. Right now we're about 150 meg size PNG. I will include on Discord a link to ye old Google Drive. Well, I'll keep the original and also the RH file if you guys want to use that in any way, shape, or form, or whatever you want to do that. Just adding some more stuff, filling stuff out. I'm going to be pedantic. Get some really big horse in here. Yeah. The elves blew up. Gee, Bob, I'm sorry your race exploded. At least they didn't make Slanesh. All right, cool. Awesome. There's our map. We have a good story. You guys can use that. Use this. Use anything you want. I'll clean this up and give this to you ASAP. And again, if you need anything at me, Avantnovis, avantnovis@gmail.com or the website. Get a hold of me. I'll help with anything you need. All my maps are free. All the, I think 60, 70 maps are free on Drive-Thru RPG. Since last year, I didn't need money to get the software renewals. I will this year, but I just wanted to do the thank you. So all those maps are currently free for everybody, and I hope they serve you well. What is going on here? Oh yeah, that's a river right there. So yeah, cool times. Have fun. Comments below, and have a good day. Peace.